Hey friends, now we will discuss if functionality, multiple if functionality, sum if, count if, what is the use of sum if function, if, multiple if function. We will use this functionality. We can see our same file is here. You can see the same file is here. Now we will use the simple if function. What is the meaning of if? Whenever in a Excel, no any formula is working, at that moment if functionality is working. If any of formula is not working in Excel, at that time if functionality is work. For example, if sum of this value, this is our sum value, is greater than 200. If sum of this value is greater than, if I want to write down this value is 200. It means that if the total value is greater than 200, if the value is true and value is false, you can see here some square bracket is coming. Value is true, then square bracket is coming. Value is false, then square bracket is coming. If value is true, then student is pass. For example, if value is false, then student is fail. Now you can see here, student is fail for first, pass in second, because 200 is greater than. I think so. First student is fail, all other student is pass in this scenario. We will use the format painter also in this scenario. We will use the format painter here. We will use the format painter. Now, this is a simple function. If I want to go multiple functionality, then what can we do? For example, if subject 1 is greater than 200, that is our scenario. That is our particular criteria is that is subject 1 is greater than 200. This is our first criteria. Now the second criteria is that and if sub total is greater than 200 and subject 1 mark is greater than 80. If both the functionality, both the criteria is fulfilled, then the student is passed. Otherwise, the student is failed. Student is passed. Otherwise, else student is failed. If the second criteria is not fulfilled, if the first criteria is not fulfilled, then student also fail. You can see here in the first he is failed because here the first criteria is not fulfilled. Here the first criteria is fulfilled, but second criteria is not fulfilled, then is failed. Here greater than 80. This is not greater than 80, it's equal to 80. That's why it's the student failed. This is called multiple if functionality. If is a very basic part in Excel, but most of cases, whenever the cases, no any formula is useful for Excel, at that time, if is a formula, we can use this formula on your own basis. This is called multiple if formula. Multiple if formula, we can use this heading part also, all border. Same as it is, we will use this format painter also, we will use the format painter. Now this is called if. Now we will, the combination of two, it is called sum if. Sum if. It means that total but any criteria. Sum it means that total, if it is meant criteria. Sum if it means that total plus criteria, it is called as a sum if functionality. Total plus criteria, that is called as sum if functionality. Now you can use this sum if range criteria, sum range, total functionality and sum if functionality. We will go for from some basic part. For example, we will delete this value. We will sum this functionality. We will use the sum if range criteria, sum range. We can give this range. This is our range. I want to use this sum if functionality. How many student is pass? Total of passing students criteria. This is called sum if functionality. We will write down the pass. In this section, how many student of pass is total. Total value is this. This is 2756. For example, we will do is manually. From this is our range. This is our range. This is if functionality. You can see here, this are the student is passed. So I want to total of passed students. At that time, we will use this. This all are the past students. We will so this is functionality 2576. Here our total is sum if functionality, and you can use this functionality total of this functionality. Now you can also use the format printer. Otherwise, as you can use the total functionality here. This is sum if functionality. Total, for example, you can write down here total of past student functionality. Total of past student functionality. This is 2576. This is total number of past students functionality. Now you can see here the true name is Nidhi. And if I want to write down, for example, we will write down Piyush. We will write down Nimit. We will write down Yogesh here. We will write down second time Nimit. We will write down second time Yogesh. And here is J. This is all are the data. We want to use this data. This is sum if functionality. Now we will use the sum if functionality in the next example. For next trying example, so we will have a clearly idea about this functionality. So we can clear idea about this. For example, we have some data. We have some expensive. For example, we have some expense. For expense, we have some expense data. And expense data total is here. For example, computer expense. In a computer expense. Now the particular pen, pencil, zoom. This is all are the data. This is 2019 data. This is 2020 data. This is 2021 data. These all are the data. We will come from the same name. We have write down 1200 plus thousands value. This is 1300 value. This is all are the data. We will format is a table. If I want to the format as a table, this is format table. Now you can look here. This is we will use the sum if functionality. Here we will write down computer. I want to total of computer expense. For example, we will write down sum if functionality. Sum if functionality is a range. Whatever our criteria is this one. Whatever I am writing here, this is our criteria, and this is our sum range. This is 4800, 12,600, 1600, and 2004-800. Now we will write down here zoom. If I write down pen, if I write down pencil, this is our different expense. We can see here our expenses. Here we will write down pen, then expense is different. We will write down pencil, then expense is different. But in this project, we will also, one thing, be very careful. The spelling mistake is not considered here. For example, I will write down zoom. The spelling is different here. At that time, zoom only total of 1900 1500. It's a 1900 plus 1500. For example, it's a 3400. So this expense is not included in this expense. So if I write down this correct spell, at that time it will be correct expenses coming. So at that moment the data is very perfectly coming from your side. This is 5700 value. Now if I am using count if function, we will use the range and we will use the criteria of this value. This is zoom. Total coming time is 3 times. If I am write down pen is also coming from 3 times. This is count if function. We will use the count plus if. Yes. What is the basic count functionality? Count plus criteria, that is the count functionality. Count if functionality. Now we will use the count of past value. Count if and here we will write down pass. Total 7 student is pass. If for example this is 90 and total is 220, so this are all students are passed. At that time the total is coming from 10. So it's come from the 10 values. The 10 value is coming from your side. This is called coming from 10 values. These all are the functionality of SUMIF and COUNTIF functionality. This is SUMIF and this is COUNTIF functionality. If I use the format painter here, then you can use the format painter. Format painter also use this. You can use this format painter also. This is a total also. You can do this total. You can use this style is a total number of pass student, total number of fail student. You can see here this is also style size is a total 5100. This is called SUMIF and COUNTIF. SUMIF functionality, COUNTIF functionality. If I only use the count functionality, if I want to use only count, then what can we use? Count. Then count the number of any data. This is if I want to use the count the number. Count functionality only for using numeric value, not for textual value. We can use count function. This is count from 10 values. If I am count the name, for example, if I write down the count and this is a count functionality, then the count is 0. Why count 0? Because this is a textual data. This is not a numerical data. Count is only working with a numerical data. It is not working with textual data. So at that position, we will use count A functionality. For example, equal to count A and count this value. You can see here count this value is 10. Now this functionality is called as count A and this functionality is called as count. This is all are the count function. Count is only working with numeric, count A working with textual. You can see here this is sum if functionality. This is called count if functionality. Right? We will use the count function. We will also use the count A function. Now you can use this count function. Count, then you can use the count is only using from numerical, and count A. Count A is using for both the numerical and textual value. This is a textual value. Count A with textual with text function, and count A with number function. You can use the count A with number. It is also working with number. Count, count A. Now we will use the count if function, count blank function also available. Which one data is blank? For example, here the one data is blank. This is a delete this value. Now count blank value. You can use this value is count blank. Use this value is count blank. Here you can see here one value is blank. It will consider one value is blank. Total value is 12. You can see here count A always considered as a 11 number value. This is a 12 because this is a textual value, and count is also considered as a 11 value. Here the total value is 12 and one value is blank. This is a column. So you can easily total 11 number only coming from 11, or one value is blank. That's why the total value is 12. So count blank value is also available. You can see the blank value. Count and count blank is also working. So at that time, count and count blank both are working as a simultaneously. When we fetch the total, we will use the count blank. The easily value can be find out. This is count A, count blank. Now we can sum this value. This is total value is our 12. One value is blank and one value, total number of value is 11. So now you can easily match your data with the total 12 values, one value is blank. That's why the count A functionality is used. Now in this video we will clear the count if, sum if, count A, count blank and total value. You can use the sum functionality also. You can see here also that this is a 12 number of value, total count and total average functionality also coming from this level. So you can easily find out the value. So sum if, count function, you can easily find out this value. If you use the count if function, for example, count if function for range, and we will give the data is pen. At that time it will be considered as a 3 A15. I will write down the pencil. We can write down manually also. We can write down this way also. In this scenario we will write down also, because every point we will write down the value. At that time we will use the data validation. In the data validation we will use the list functionality, and we'll use the computer pen pencil zoom functionality, and okay, You can see here one drop down box is coming. Then you can easily select this value, computer pen pencil, and zoom. This is 3700 value is coming from your side. So you can see here, for example, A15. If I write down, zoom is only coming from one time. So you can see here, count if is 2, and sum if, this functionality is called sum if. So sum if is 3450. If here is zoom is coming, at that time it will be considered as a particular 37500. If I am not data validation is here, we will go for the list, and any value I don't want to the list, and delete this list. You can delete particular list. This is very useful command from Excel. We cannot every time write down value, we can directly put into the data validation, and data validation working as a simultaneously. It is called as a count if sum if functionality in the Excel. Now this is particular functionality, counting, count plan. This is all are the functionality. If we want to, here we want to particular conditional formatting with text that contains computer. At that time the color format is changed. If the color format is changed, then we will use the red color, and okay, you can see here red color is coming. All the computer is coming with a red color. Then you can use this functionality also. You can use this functionality in a name also. Conditional formatting with text that contain. This is called as text contain. If it is equal to value, you can use the equal to value. Here only q is coming, only equal to value, only textual value. Conditional formatting highlight equal to q, then it is highlighted. Here you can see here exactly value q is highlighted. No any other value with consider q is highlighted. Exact q value it's a highlighted. That is called a conditional formatting. Stop, which is the main useful command in Excel. That's why it's considered in the data. If the data is between, for example, here there are lots of data. If any data is coming from, for example, this is 2 lines, and I'm coming from between of these two value. If the value is 50 to 100, then it is highlighted. So any value between 50 to 100, equivalent 50 and equivalent 100 also, then it is also highlighted in this file. So that is a conditional formatting with Excel. That is a very useful in a Excel file. Okay friends, thank you. Next video we will continue that.